except for here. Alright, so maybe you can hear me now. I turned it on. I'm going to boost it just a little bit. Okay, I'm using a new system today where you'll see me looking up a lot because I see my program up there. But anyway, today we have a special guest, which is Jay Tyler from Ortho Lab Videos. He's going to be joining us soon, hopefully, if he can get the link to work. Other than that, I'm going to keep going, and we're going to do springs today, which are not necessarily spring aligners, spring retainers, things that move multiple teeth, usually the front four interior. But we do, today we're going to be working on spring, finger springs, I guess is the term for it. So the different types of finger springs, lap springs, diastema closing springs. We're going to try to do a bunch of those, and we'll take some requests if you end up in the chat room and you want to see a certain type of spring. Hopefully I know what it is. If not, we'll Google it together and look it up. I do have an example here of what we're not going to do. I just sprinkled it. Got my pressure pot here behind my computer. Here we go. I got a ding somewhere. Alright, let me record this just to be safe in case. Alright, so this is what we're not doing now. I don't know if you can tell, but this has, it's a spring aligner. I've reset these 4 teeth. It's got labial acrylic, it's got lingual acrylic, it's got a mushroom spring and a big bar in here. So this is not what I'm talking about when I say we're going to do springs today. But it should give you an idea the weird terminology that we always have to deal with as far as with ortho. So let's see. We look at here. Get a good shot of that. Anyway, this is black sparkle, or aka pepper. Okay, on this one, if we start in on the springs, this doctor asks, lower spring retainer, or they're calling it an extended Gemini retainer with spring that pushes number 23 mesiolingual to the facial. Okay, so this is number 23 right here. I'm going to try to zoom in a tad bit. I hear something going on. Oh, hey. Answer. Hey, I think we got Jay on. Can you hear me? Or can I hear you?
I can hear you.
Oh. Oh, keep
Can
talking.
You hear me?
Oh, there you are. I hear you.
You hear me?
I do, yes.
I'm amazed. My techie guy isn't here yet. He'll be here in a few minutes, and I did all this myself. I am really, truly amazed.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad you're able to join us. I don't know if you can hear me okay though?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't see a video of you.
Hey, am I supposed to see myself?
Yeah, you're supposed to be able to see yourself. Let's see. Go up to I think the settings. Yeah. If you hover up in the upper right corner, there's a little gear icon. If you click that, it should say video, and it should say you should be able to choose FaceTime HD camera. If you're on your iMac, it should come with one.
Okay, it says FaceTime HD camera. Okay. Do I click on that?
Yeah, click on that.
Okay, done. Well, I guess I don't have to see myself.
Oh,
Let me look over here.
you can see me though in the picture.
Yeah, I see you great.
Oh, okay. I am looking to see if I can.
Oh,
Oh, hey.
oh,
Hey, I see you. That worked.
but no, I see you. I see the retainer in the middle, but I don't see. Oh, there you are.
There you go. Okay. It was a button I needed to
Voila.
push. So, hello.
Hello. This is great.
Yeah, this is cool. I already kind of got started. Was telling everybody we're doing springs today, and that you were going to be my
Okay.
special guest, and that you are Jay Tyler from Ortho Lab Videos.
Yep, that's me. Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, how's the weather over there?
A little rainy this week.
Oh yeah,
Last week it was so good. I had to play golf. I couldn't join you guys. Sorry about that.
hey, I really don't blame you.
Not that sorry.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now we have a couple options for you. Since you
Right.
can see me, I want you to be able to see what I'm working on.
Okay.
So I'm going to move this computer. You can either see my ugly mug or the models I'm working on.
Oh, either way.
Hey,
Well, it'd be cool if I could see the chat.
yes,
I wonder how I could do that.
I need to turn up your volume according to Steve's R. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to move this. Hopefully, I don't break anything. Hopefully, you're able to see my screen.
I can.
All right.
I see that delay.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a delay for you. But if I switch to my cameras here. Well, that was a terrible camera view. There we
All
go.
right. Well, you got quite a setup there. This is nice.
Yeah, I'm having fun with it, and obviously people are having to deal with me playing around with it.
Yeah, it'll take some getting used to.
Yeah. So I got a couple views here. Oh, that's why I can't see that one. I laid the camera down. Let me get my other camera view in here. Hello, Frank from France is saying hello. Hello.
Hello, Frank.
All right, I can get this. This is what I'm working on. There we go. Actually, I can move this a little bit closer. You can see all the dirty work I had. Oh, there's my printer. All right. So what I was telling everybody was, there's a difference between like spring aligner and spring retainer, and I don't know. It's very complicated. I was showing everybody that there is a spring aligner. I don't know if you can see that or not. I just sprinkled it. It needs to be trimmed.
Right.
But it's got a mushroom spring. It's got a lingual bar that you can't see right now. 4 clasp. Now this I've reset all 4 teeth in the front. And if you want a good method for resetting teeth, which I've used many times now, Jay has a video on resetting teeth and waxing them in. It really comes out handy, your video you did, where you leave them attached on the lingual side, and then you fill in with wax here, and then break them and set them that way.
Yeah, I find that's pretty good. It's a pretty quick way to do it. And I noticed that if I get the wax on there while the model's dry, it goes into the porosity of the model real well, holds onto them real well. And then if I take a little, like a barred Parker blade, and just real lightly go between the teeth, and then if I dip it in water, they seem to snap right at the interproximal. real easily.
Oh, I didn't know about the dipping it in water.
Yeah, it makes it a little more brittle, and it seems to in my experience, it breaks along the little score that you make with the barred Parker a little easier,
Oh,
a
that's
little more
cool.
accurately.
Yeah. I
Of course, if you have to rotate the tooth a lot, there might be a little flashing in there. You might have to trim up some. Uh, okay. Send a photo to your group. Oh, Zara sent a photo to our group from Steve.
Oh, he sent a photo. I just did something weird.
You just changed something. Now live chat is gone. I don't see the live chat. Maybe I can get into it on my phone.
Oh, that's weird. How that suddenly went away. Yeah, down at the bottom of the screen, there's a red button with a phone. Don't push that. Push the one next to it. Looks like a little video camera. Oh, hello. There you are. Found you.
Push the one like a little video camera?
Yeah, you're already on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know what I did, but hey, that worked. But the live chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to look at it on your phone. Make sure you mute
Oh,
your phone.
I've got it. I've got it on my phone.
Oh, okay.
Cool. Frank Liebman from France. Yes, I was in France a few years ago. I was in Marseille.
Hey, I thought you were you were in Amsterdam. Where were you just recently? Germany?
We did a Scandinavian cruise last summer, and then a few years before that, we did a Mediterranean cruise, and that's what landed me in Marseille.
Oh, that's
But,
cool.
I want to go back to Paris sometime. That would be neat. I've never seen
I-
Paris.
Yeah, I've never been there. That. So what I was saying was, when I was talking about resetting teeth, this is a spring aligner, modified spring aligner, kind of a different. What we're going to do today is like single tooth moving springs, or just springs in general.
Right.
What I have drawn on here is, some people call this a finger spring. Some people call it a mattress spring, W spring, Z spring, recurve spring. I don't know if you can see that very well.
Everybody's got so many different names for the same thing. It's amazing to me.
That's the worst thing
Oh.
about Ortho.
I see somebody come out with something. This is the Oppenheimer appliance, and you look at it and you think, well, that was a Schwartz appliance 25 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, and like this doctor wants on this case wants an extended Gemini. Let me change my cameras here. Yeah, lower spring retainer with spring that pushes number 23 mesiolingual to the facial. So this is an extended Gemini, which to me is just a retainer with rest, and that's pretty much it.
I don't know the term Gemini. I mean, I know what Gemini means, but I've never heard that in reference to a retainer design.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's the doctors in my area, but they anything with like a labial, a 3-to-3, they call a 3-to-3 a Gemini. 3x3, you know, those just the little clips, 3x3 clips. They call those Geminis around here.
Oh, where it's like a spring aligner, but it's just on the 3-to-3. It doesn't have lingual distal extensions on the posterior.
Yes, with or without the.
Yeah. Okay, they call it a Gemini. Okay, I've not heard that. That's
and so, this doctor, an extended Gemini would then have those extensions on the lingual.
Are there wire extensions?
Yeah, little wire extensions on the lingual.
Oh, okay, yeah, I've seen that.
I know this doctor for sure wants just a retainer with rest, and they call it an extended Gemini.
All right.
Which is very confusing, but
Yeah.
and it's probably where the doctors went to school. What terminology they learn.
Oh yeah.
I have
School seems to really matter what appliance types they use. I have an orthodontist graduated from Duke, I think. Just swears by the Haas RPE. And I got another guy, I forget where he went, I guess UT, and he thinks the Hyrax is the only way to go. So
right, and I have a doctor that calls an RPE an RME, rapid maxillary expander.
Oh,
And
okay.
I know a technician that got fired because he tried to correct her. I mean, it wasn't the only reason he got fired. He was not a very nice person anyway, but you don't correct the doctor on, hey,
Yeah,
you're saying it
I
wrong.
think
It's
only two
RPE.
things I say to a doctor. It's either yes sir or yes ma'am.
Right. It's like, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I can make it.
That's right.
So,
You can draw it, or if you got a picture of it, yep, I can make it.
oh
All I
yeah.
need to know is its function and its design and what it looks like.
So right now, what I'm making is the lingual arch and the continuous rest, as some people call it, or a rest bar.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get some good angles in here for y'all. And I'll do this first on lowers before I do my spring. So if I was prepared, I probably should have had this done beforehand. But like I said, I'm working with a new software here, a beta version of the software that I usually live stream with. So I'm not too familiar with it. So Jay, the general mechanics of a single tooth spring, whether it be mattress spring or Z spring or what size wire do you usually do?
Well, depends on the tooth. If it's a lower, little incisor, you can't make a lot of, comebacks on the wire. The zigzag is pretty small. I'll probably use about an 020.
Okay, that's exactly what I use. Yeah.
And if it's an upper, like a central, where you got a little more room to make a zigzaggy, I'll probably bump it up to an 022.
Oh, yeah.
If it's a bicuspid or a molar where I can get a little more bend into it, I'll probably bump it up to an 025.
Now, have you ever made one out of an 028? I've tried to do a distal spring to distalize a molar, and I've used 028 for that, just because those teeth are just so huge and hard to move.
Yeah. I usually just look at the tooth and look at the wire and go, yeah, this will work.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and mouths are different all the way around, so.
I've got I saw the video last week. For some reason, I wasn't able to find the chat, I believe. No, it was last week I played golf.
That's
Never mind.
Yeah.
It might have been the week before. I forget. When did you do the spring aligner? Was that last week? Maybe I saw it on your channel.
I forgot what I did last week. Maybe someone can remind me.
But I've been doing for the last many years. I've been doing this design. I think. Do you remember TP Laboratory? Does that predate you?
Yeah. No, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they did a spring aligner design, and I liked it, and I used it with an orthodontist. I'm talking many years ago, and they loved it, and that's really about all I've done since. Let me take a break here. I might have a sample of one.
Oh, okay.
I'll be right back.
All right. So to keep going, I'm going to use 020, just like Jay said, and all right. So if you can see this, I'm going to Now they're wanting it mesiolingual, so they want it to open this way. So I'm going to lay the wire pretty close to the gum line. Did you find one?
I did. Found an upper and a lower. They're not really shined up or anything, and they're old, so the acrylic's probably kind of dull. Let's see if I can stick it up here at the camera. There we go.
Oh yeah.
I don't have the model, but it's got just instead of acrylic inferior to that lingual pad, it's just got like an it's 4 there. So it's really got four acrylic components: 2 posterior, 1 lingual anterior, then the labial acrylic. But the labial's the same. It's just that. Let me see if I can rotate a little bit.
Yes.
It gives it a whole lot of flexibility, and then you don't have that acrylic under here to mess with. But depends on the doctor's design. I did that the first time they requested a spring aligner, and I would tell them about this. They go, "Oh, let's give it a try," and that's what they like. Here's in Tennessee, anyway. Different parts of the country have different things going on.
Yeah, that's
Here's
exactly what I make.
Upper.
Yeah, you got it. That looks good. Awesome.
So it's got a little more floppy going on.
Yeah, a lot more flex, a lot more slack in it to really capture those cricket teeth.
Yeah. It's a great little appliance. I didn't know that Donald Inman invented the Inman aligner. He sent me a friend request on Facebook, or I sent him a friend request, whatever. Anyway, he wrote a real nice thing saying, it'd be great to be your friend and all. And I didn't know it was him. And I just sent a generic, "Oh, thank you." And then I found out he was the guy who invented it. I just assumed some orthodontist named Inman invented the Inman aligner. But the first time I saw that appliance, I thought, of course.
Yeah, that makes sense. All
When I
those...
push straight in on both sides instead of, rotating. I think it's just really a cool design. But you probably have to, go to a class and become a certified lab and all that in order to make them. I've never really had a request for one, but I would contact Don if I ever did.
Right. Yeah. It's a really neat appliance, and I just made. He's got another invention he's done. I'm gonna try to zoom it up on this. I don't know if you can see that or not. Really neat, and I think that's an upper. Really neat design, using springs, open coil springs, and tubes and stuff.
Yeah.
But
and he invented that Inman power component too, didn't
yes, yeah, and I just made one not too long ago.
That's a neat concept. We can just slide that little stop up at 1 millimeter increments. Very clever.
Let me change over. Anyway, I was going to show you this. Is my the one I had? It's going to be a lot like what you put or what you showed. You can't tell all that was waxed out right there, but I'm going to cut here and here and here and open up all this area right here.
Oh yeah.
And I've heard this called a super spring, especially if the wire has an open coil. Or a helix, a double helix here and here. It's a super spring, I guess. But this one is just a plain mushroom spring.
Yeah.
But
a lot of ways to move a tooth.
Yes. And so bringing us back, I am working on this one now. Let's see if I can get a better shot. I gotta remember what I've numbered my camera angles. So I've got 020, like you said, and this doctor wants the mesial of this tooth to rotate out. And if I take my pencil and mark this, you can kind of see how that needs to move outward. So I'm just gonna, what I do is I like to actually scrape this I'll scrape this just a little bit, the tooth. Just kind of make a little groove. Just slightly. Just so that wire kind of lays in there. And then it's just very slightly activated when the doctor gets it. Very slightly. I know that springs need to be passive when you pass them to the doctor. But
I've asked doctors in the past if they, depends on the doctor. Once you get a relationship, you know what to ask and not. And I've asked guys who seem to have trouble bending wire, do you want me to pre-adjust this thing for you?
Right.
Oh, yeah, please. And I do that same thing. It's really a handy thing to just scrape out. And then you can, if you want to, just go ahead and make the full adjustment. If it's not too much rotation, you can just scrape it, even with
real
the
deep,
lingual surfaces of the other teeth and lay it in there. And then when they put it in there, it's ready to go.
Yeah, so this so I've marked it, the width of the tooth. I put my little mark and I made a back bend. And then I'm going to put my pliers on it again and just go slightly inside of the cut part and bend it back. And then slightly again. Well, this one I'm going to go out of 45 just because it's a lower. So that's just a little back and forth. These are kind of a little bit of a money maker. You get quick at doing these. You pop them out real quick. Let me change. Oh, I just did the wrong camera angle. But there's my Inman aligner I did. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, cool.
I can't get any bigger. But it's got the little component here that ratchets along and then the open coil. So it ratchets along and closes that open coil, which then pushes on the molar. This doctor wanted a bike plate at the same time. I'm starting a orthodontic appliance database, and I'm going to give you and anybody who wants to join a link to it where I'm going to embed it on my site, my designer retainer site, and then you just have an app on your phone. You just take a picture of what you're doing, describe it. So this is a retraction auto holly for the retraction of anterior teeth, and it's got pictures. It's got a little. No, this isn't a booty appliance. I'm trying to remember. There's a retraction auto holly, automatic holly is what it's for. You can tell those teeth just need to pull back. And it's got a Australian wire going through there. There's a tube on this side and a tube on the other side, and just a free wire going through there. I need to add some more pictures to that. But anyway,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Back to where was that? Let's see if I can get, like I said, a better camera angle here. So I don't know if y'all can tell, I have a circle here on my table where my model holder goes. And so it always goes back because I'll tend to start bending and it'll start coming toward my lap.
Yeah. Staying in frame is the hardest thing for me to do with videos.
Oh, yeah.
I'll forget to look at the monitor and I'll be bending and grinding away.
Yeah.
I'm out of frame. All you're looking at is my wrist.
Oh, I've done that so many times. Or my hairy arm. I don't realize how arm.
Yeah.
See, I'm wearing long sleeve today, so it's not as bad. Look like Wolfman Jack over here. So there's many different things you can do once I get to this part, and I can either just bend it, whatever acrylic tag you want. And you just bend it up or down or over the wire. I've seen people hook it over the wire, the lingual bar. And again, this is just for the lower. Frank, Steve Zara recommends an Ortho Lab meeting in 2020 in Paris. And Frank from Paris was like, I have to cut the sound. What is this meeting? I think he might be starting something. All right, so I've got it laid in there. Hopefully y'all can see that. See again.
Do you have much breakage of the spring coming out of the acrylic?
Oh, I never do. It's really weird.
It's good.
I'm gonna.
I used to have, I went through a period there years ago where I was getting quite a bit of that. I guess I was using too small of a wire or trying to, move too much or something. And I had a helix right where it goes into the acrylic. It just eliminated spring breakage. I haven't had one break since.
Whoa, really? Like a
Yeah.
helix that's in the acrylic, or do
No,
you
it's
wax
just
out the
right
helix?
as it comes out of the acrylic, right at the border.
Oh,
Like the helix ends and it goes immediately into the acrylic. Maybe just a slight little bit of the helix is butted against the acrylic. I've got a video in my playlist on that where I undid the helix to show
Oh,
how I've
yes,
got
I
a
saw
spring
that.
without the helix and
It's-
then one with the helix, and undid the helix to show how much longer the spring was. Just gives it more resiliency right there.
yeah,
And
and it really gives more movement that you can do with the wire.
yeah,
I'm obviously having a hard time with this, but y'all kind of get the idea. I might go back into it.
Mhm.
I'm trying to stay out of the frame at the same time.
with these spring wires, it'd be ideal if you could find a spring wire that had high tensile strength. But elasticity and tensile strength are inversely proportional, at least with nickel chromium wires. Most cobalt alloy wires are pretty soft, so they wouldn't work well for a spring. But you got to have a springy wire, and you give up that tensile strength.
Yes, yeah, and there was a doctor that wanted me to use this Australian wire on all of his cases, and this is 016, and he gave this to me. He stopped using it. I feel like this has got a high carbon content to it. Yeah, here's my 020. It's got a high carbon content, but it's supposed to be very. Do you know much about Australian wire?
I've used them years ago. I worked for an orthodontist when I first started. He used the beg technique, which nobody uses anymore, and they used a lot of the Australian wires. So I've done a lot of arch wires with that. I forget though; it's been so long ago. Is it a brittle wire?
It's a brittle wire, but it's very springy, and then I guess up to a point, then it just breaks on you. I mean, you can really tell just by me flicking this.
Yeah.
That it's.
You say it's got a high carbon content. Is it a stainless steel? They put carbon in iron to make steel, and then they put chromium in it to make stainless steel.
Yeah,
ferrous.
I've looked
alloy.
it up before, and to get the contents of it, but I could not figure out the difference. I did figure it out, and I've already forgot. I'm just going to blame it to old age. Why I can't remember.
Closely guarded secret, I'm sure. Yeah.
It's been so long. But I looked it up because I think somebody was wanting to know if it was nickel free, and I think it did have just a slight amount of nickel in there. But I learned this, so this is be the same spring but on an upper, and I learned this from the lab I worked at for years. It just was a very simple way of bending this and just doing the recurve. But you get in such a pattern of doing these things that you can really bump these out. So I did the same thing. I marked it, the width of the tooth. Then I'm going to grab it just a little slightly less than the width of the tooth and do my bend back. And then this one we always made it, I hope y'all can see that. This one we always made it 45. And then we would just drop straight down from there and just do a kickback. And then just cut it off. And that made our springs every single time. Just like that. And then you just adapt it into the... We almost were having this young girl, when she was learning to wire bend, we just made her make tons of these. Just different sizes.
I'm ready to go, yeah. Yeah, I can tell you've done that more than once.
Yeah. So it's a simple little, just...
Yeah, Yeah, you get to where you can just almost, you don't even have to measure hardly anymore after you
Right.
do a
Yeah, you
couple
just
hundred of
eye
them.
it, and it's just the
Just
simple
the
little
same thing.
there,
Yeah.
back, and you just drop straight down, and then just do a little acrylic at the end.
Hey, hey, my IT guy's here.
Oh, right. You're gonna be proud of Jay.
Yeah, come into the frame here. This right here is Nathan, and he is the only reason I am able to do what I do
That's
on video.
that's awesome. Hi, I'm right here. I have Jay
Oh,
watching.
you got the things in.
Yeah.
So I have. We're all thankful for Nathan to be able to put your knowledge out there on the YouTube, on the internet.
I got to go over a couple things with Nathan. I'll be right back.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Hey, cool. Yeah, we're doing Google Hangout.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, cool.
All right. So another thing I've done in the past is I've done a loop spring. It's also called a blower spring, and it's just a little loop right here and straight down. I do it a lot on lowers, where I'll do a little loop like so and go straight down. And I'll show you how I get those done. Now, when I had my my Holly loop formers here, they have a little thing, but I always keep breaking the thing off. It's really kind of annoying. And I keep breaking the little tip off, and so I'll have two of these. And I keep breaking the tip off, but I used to love doing the little loop springs with it. But I'll use my jar back, so everybody out there, this is what I call a jar back. Get it in the frame here. There we go. So I'll just count down 1, 2, let's say 3 loops here. Or circle. Make a full circle like this. Simple little loop spring. Blower spring, I guess, if you're fancy about it. You can then put it here, and so then the doctor can take that, twist it, and torque a tooth left or right. And so this is covered with acrylic. Sometimes the doctor likes it uncovered, but you usually put it here and wax it all the way down to the gum line. Give it a good stem on there. Oh, Jay's back. Hello.
Hello.
I was showing them a loop spring.
Oh.
Or a blower spring is what somebody else calls it. So some Dr. Blower came up with it.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
But this doctor, I just made one not too long ago, and they wanted to torque the facial gum line out. Or on the facial, they wanted to torque this part of the tooth out because it was kind of sunken in. So they put one of these, they had me put one of these on here, and you can finish out the rest of it like normal. And you can put a wax around you can either cover it with acrylic, or the doctor can uncover it if they want, and they can torque it. They can take a pair of pliers and twist it. And
I've not seen that before. That's really cool. So that's just kind of a pivot point for the torquing.
Yes.
You're torquing the crown.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yep. And so this
So
doctor
that's right at the gingival margin and serves as kind of a fulcrum for that torquing.
Yeah, and so then there's a circle that that I guess they can feel like they have more control over when they're going to adjust it, and so you wax it almost down to here, give them a little bit of stem, and then that will push it. They can push it out. If you keep it low, they can push just the gum line, the crown part out, or keep it up high. You can just do the incisal. Or they can just twist it and rotate the tooth.
Well, that's pretty cool.
I've seen them on lowers a lot. But they just lay. Oh, I didn't adjust that very well. They really like doing these for lowers because it will cover the whole tooth. Get my fat fingers out of the way. Yeah, I'll cover
That's neat.
that whole
Yeah.
tooth, and then they can really torque it. It's really hard to fit 4 springs on a lower interior. That is some wire management right there.
Yeah. You know, a long time ago, we used to make what we called magic hollies. You know, there'd be a spring on every tooth.
Yeah, yeah.
Total ortho with one appliance.
Yes. Yeah. So it's like the doctor's punting. You know, he's like, I'm done with the patient. Let's take the braces off. Let's give him a retainer, and we'll punt. You know, at 4th and 1, I'm kind of done with this.
Yeah. They want those braces off. They're getting them off. Magic holly, please.
Yeah. I'm gonna steam clean this off real quick so I can reuse it. I'll be right back.
Alrighty.
Okay, one more. No, I don't know what time it is.
I've got
40.
12:51
Oh,
by
okay.
my clock, Nashville time. I guess that's Texas time.
Yeah, that's about right.
You know, it's important what you said about when you make that second loop back to keep it smaller, just a little bit smaller than the end of the wire, so that when
Yes.
you expand the spring out, it's not going to bump up against the acrylic.
Right. And there always tends to be kind of a tapered effect to the gums when you're so you can only get your longest piece is going to be that top one going across.
Right.
And then when you try to loop around and you try to make it the same length, you're going to run into the not perculum. Wrong word. Incisal papilla right there.
Yeah.
And so I always kind of taper my springs down.
Oh, you're nice. You just take a knife and just
Take away that.
peel it on there.
Oh, man.
I at least round the end of the spring off.
Well, I mean, it's probably going to push away those gums out of the way anyway.
Yeah.
So there's another one that Steve recommended we go over. It was a diastema closing springs, which you can they go over the occlusion, and usually there's a gap between the teeth in this case, and they're just going to be used to close the gap. I make a couple different kinds. One, let me use a red so you can see it. One comes here. If it's a small gap, I might not put a loop. One comes there and then comes down. And then the other one, I kind of go in to about the middle of the tooth and I put a helical coil there. And so those are the couple types that I make.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can see that very well or not.
What size wire do you use on that?
I use 020 is what I've been using. Do you have a different type?
Well, there again depends on the amount of space, I guess, to close up, and more likely just the size of tooth and how much room I got to work in. I'm sitting there thinking. Usually, I think I use about an 022 on that. I don't think I use as much as an 025, but I think I use an 022 on that.
Yeah, I bet you get away if it's a huge tooth.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like you got a giant tooth in there. You pull out a giant wire.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's required, but it just looks better. Looks more proportionate to the dental arch.
Well,
you know the thing about maxillary midline diastemas, or diastemas, I've heard them called. If they're in contact with the opposing teeth, if the upper incisal edges are in occlusion with the incisal third of the upper lingual surfaces of the upper anteriors, then if you close that space in the midline, without being able to bring them lingually, you create a space between the centrals and the laterals.
Oh, right.
And then
Yes.
if you close that space, then you create a space between the laterals and the cuspids. So with these midline diastema cases on the maxillary arch, you almost have to go a little bit lingual with it to completely close that up and keep it closed. And I've gone over this so many times with doctors, um, and I just don't know. Is there another way of doing it? Is there something magic going on about being able to do that I'm not aware of?
So when you say bring it more mesial, you're talking, like, well, say that again.
Okay. If the lower incisors are in occlusion with the lingual of the upper anteriors, the upper anteriors are not going to be able to lingualize.
Oh.
They'll be in contact with the opposing.
Right.
So if you close the midline diastema, without lingualizing it, then you will have a space between the centrals and the laterals.
Yes. Yeah. So they'll just slide along that arch and not be pulled back.
Right.
And so you're just creating the space somewhere else. And
yeah, the space appears if you move the lateral over, then you'll have a space between the lateral and the cuspid. And then what do you tip the cuspid? Good luck with that.
Yeah,
big
right.
old long root, and tilt that up. Then you got a space between the cuspid and the first bi, and keep going back, tooth at a time, I guess. What we've done several times is they'll do a little interproximal reduction on the lower, and this conversation leads to being able to make another appliance, which is good for the books.
Oh yeah, good point.
To make a lower appliance to retract the lower anterior so that you have a little bit of overjet, so you can close that overjet by closing that midline diastema and not having to create additional spaces, just getting rid of the midline space.
Oh, trying to get that zoomed in a little bit. I'm still working with all my camera angles here and stuff.
Oh yeah, you're busy. I was in the video production business for about 10 years. I took a sabbatical from the Ortho lab, and yeah, you got multi cameras out and you don't have a crew. You're busy.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to during the summer. I think I'm going to get my son to be the director or the
there you go
video producer. My very first. I don't know if you remember. If you've seen it, I did a video on my live unboxing of my compressor, my silent compressor. And
yes,
he was the one running all the cameras for me. So that was nice.
Yeah.
I could just concentrate on talking.
Well, it helps.
Oh,
I
yeah.
did over 300 productions, and I probably 10% of those I had to do everything myself.
Oh, man. Well, talk about the conference. I'm looking into live streaming the conference this year using this system. And,
that'd be great.
I'm thinking I need a helper, and I might just recruit my son
to
come help me set up, and you know these young minds can almost do anything. They just absorb it so quick. He took to it. At my church, I bring this system, and I live stream the church services for him. And
that's neat.
To YouTube, and he'll come in when he gets there with his mom, and he'll just take that iPad from me and start, doing video switching cameras and, doing lower thirds and picture-in-picture and all that fun stuff.
Wow. That's great.
So I'm not
going to be able to make the conference in Dallas this year.
Oh, you're not?
I'm going to be in Pittsburgh. No, I mean Philadelphia.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's a conference going on up there about this rare disease that my wife has that we're going to go talk to the experts and see what's going on about that.
Oh, wow. I feel like I just knew someone that went to the Mayo Clinic, or...
No, this is going to be in a hotel. It's called, my wife has a condition called cerebellar ataxia, and the National Ataxia Foundation is having their annual meeting on the exact same weekend as the meeting in Texas, and I was just so bummed. I was like, man, that's the one meeting out of the whole year I want to go to. It's that one. But
I will be live streaming it, so
yeah, okay.
As long as you might be able to bring your headphones and your phone and just watch the while you're sitting in class if you don't get in trouble with your wife.
Yeah, I might do that. I mean, I might get in trouble with my wife.
Yeah.
Is it going to be on your playlist?
Yes. Yeah. It'll come
Okay,
up on the playlist, and
good. I'll get to
most
see it.
likely I'll be doing this Saturday ones. Friday, I've been recruited to do the keynote presentations. Cran and Bridge.
All right, good.
That I think we're actually going to try to do continuing education for people.
Yeah.
And we're going to be doing the first annual. I'm going to try to film it. First Association of Dental Labs, the first meeting. Christopher Jawuski, if I'm saying that right, Christopher, if you're watching,
Yeah.
he is going to set that up, and then we'll have everybody watching and being a part of it.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, Chris is really out there. He's really vocal about on Facebook about all this stuff.
Yeah. So I've done two different types here. One is has the open coil, and again, people in post production, I'll try to link to Jay's video where he uncoils one of these and shows you exactly how much wire went into this. And I've seen doctors, we were talking about, they'll open a gap between the one and the two, the central and the lateral. Well, since there's a coil on it, they can stretch it back to the lateral after they're done closing that space and just keep on going because there's so much extra wire.
Well, that's a great idea. I hadn't thought of that. You could place that helix to accommodate that extra movement. That's great.
Yeah, you could actually probably move, your helix, change it a little bit, and so let's see if I can get a good shot of this helix. Let's see. Maybe this camera angle. No, it's probably not going to focus in on it. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, there we go.
Looks good.
So how I did that, and I'll just do it real quick. I use a jar back plier because I just like the small little barrel on the end of it. And I'll just put it in the groove. And I'm pushing against it, rotating my hand at the same time. I just messed that up, of course. And I'll just small little bends, and it slowly forms that helices, I guess is the plural. Of course, most of that was out of the frame. But
Yep.
there we go.
That's good.
So then waxing, we'll finish this with just waxing out. Now, when you wax it, I usually do this little method where I cover the helices, the helical, and I'll go at an angle.
Yeah, I looked that up recently. I did a video on it, and I wasn't sure. Helix is the singular, and the plural can either be. Google knows everything,
Yeah. Yeah. So, what you broke up a little bit for me. What did you say? What's the singular?
Okay. Well, the singular is helix, according to Google, and the plural is either helices or helixes.
Helix is. Oh.
Helixes.
So
Helixes or helices.
Crazy.
Please don't ask me to spell it.
Yeah, no, same here. That's why we bend wire, so we don't have to do math and spelling.
Oh, yeah, got that.
So I'm doing a kind of a sloppy job because I'm trying to get it in the camera frame here. But I was going to show some of the waxing, which is part of these springs, is the wax. You got to cover part of that spring to make sure that it is open underneath that acrylic. That the doctor has access to it. And I wish I had a finished appliance with a spring underneath it. Jay, do you have one?
Let me look.
Okay. Yeah, so what I was saying,
I didn't see one.
Oh, okay. Well, and what I was trying to get at is, so this is gonna get covered with acrylic, and then after the acrylic's cured and everything, you remove this wax, and then this whole contraption right here will be exposed underneath the acrylic, and so the acrylic's gonna be here, and that wire is just gonna slide underneath it like this, back and forth, and the acrylic helps hold the wire down, or else it'll try to spring up when they seat it. So that acrylic will hold it down and keep it activated and in the right position.
That's a good wax job there.
Yeah, like I said, it's a little sloppy, but
You know, when you're making videos and you have to hold things at weird angles,
yes,
unaccustomed to what you're usually doing in the actual work of the day, you know, you come off as being like, wow, is that the way you do it?
yeah, it's really
Sometimes
surprising.
you're like, well, no, not really, but it's the best I could do with this angle.
Well, and I used to film like this. Let me move my live camera here. And I used to film like this. Well, if I get it to straighten up here. So
Are you just hand holding it?
well, I got a little stand here. I'll move my other
Oh yeah, I see.
my other camera here so you can see. Back it
Yeah.
up some. So this is my view as I work. So I got the camera here, right, and I got the model here. But the thing is, it's right in my face, so
Right.
I'm having to like look around while I'm trying to bend, and I get the wrong angle, and this thing
Yeah.
I try to look through the screen, but it really messes me up.
It's only two-dimensional. You can't tell how
Yeah,
that
that's a
third
good-
dimension.
Very
Yeah,
good
that-
point.
It's like I start to point to something and I'm looking at the monitor and I'm either way too close
right.
or way too far away.
Yeah, so I'm sitting here trying to bend the spring, and I'm looking through here, and I can't
Yeah.
see him, so I'm looking around, and I gotta have good light on it. Yeah, so it's funny how that happens like that. But
Yeah.
is there any other last things you want to say about spring? And I was hoping to get through a lot more, but we got to talking, and
I know. My fault. Sorry.
no, that's that's why I have guests. It makes the wire bending go smoother, and not as silent and scary. But Jay, I think I'm gonna end it here. Everybody's probably coming off their lunch hour, and I appreciate you coming on, being my guest, and we're definitely gonna do it again.
Oh, anytime. This is fun.
Yeah, let people know where you're located at on the internets.
Okay, it's Ortho Lab Video. Ortho Lab Videos, plural. And that's my website, .com. It's my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Ortho Lab Videos. I'm on Twitter and Instagram. Everything I do is Ortho Lab Videos.
That's great that you were able to save that name and
Yeah.
use it
Well,
across
Nathan
all.
took care of all that for me.
Yeah, that was very smart, because I was surprised OrthoLab Videos was available
I was too.
on YouTube. I was really
Yeah.
surprised. Jay, hang on. I'm going to end the stream, and I want to say thanks. Oh, hey, Tristan Thompson. Have you thought about a GoPro mount? Oh, I have. Tristan, I actually used to have one on my strap like this, and I made a case, and I put it on my head and hold it over, but it started like pushing on my brow and was starting to hurt, so I had to stop using it. I do have a couple videos where I've done the GoPro. If you check out my playlist, I'm actually pumicing, and I got the GoPro, or I'm grinding on the lathe, and I got the GoPro inside the splash pan while I'm grinding. It made for a really cool video. It started going with the vibrations, and so everything started doing this with the. So this system does work with a GoPro, so I can actually get a nice high picture of what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm gonna definitely look into that. Right now, I can use cell phones, and so
You know, Steve Zara took a cell phone inside a pressure pot one time. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you could put a GoPro in a pressure pot. That would be, and pressurize it. I bet it would, they got those cases on. I bet it would work out pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. This chat that we see here won't be, but if you ask any questions, Jay, he'll be happy to answer the questions in the comments below the video. So after I end this, it'll go into save mode and become its own video. So ask your questions down below. Me and Jay will try to answer it. But any last words, Jay?
I can't think of any.
Good
job, man. Kudos to you, Cade, and Steve for doing all this stuff. You got me motivated to make some YouTube videos, and I'm having a good time with it. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, and you were the one that started the whole thing of actually trying to educate people using videos and when there's not a school around. So we really appreciate all your history and all your work you've done in the past, and mounting this mountain of technology, and you're summiting it, and so it's good. I'm proud of you for being able to get on technology as you have.
Well, at my age, it's quite an endeavor, but I have a young person to help me out.
Yeah, like I said, I got one too, but I had to create him. He's my son. Yeah. My wife didn't like that joke, I don't think.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, anyway, on that, I'm going to end the recording, and Jay, stay on for a little bit, and we'll talk. And until then, everybody, happy bending. And